Meetings are supposed to help work move forward. They create opportunities for collaboration, problem solving, and decision making, allowing teams to align around priorities and address challenges. When used effectively, they can save time, improve communication, and prevent misunderstandings that would otherwise slow progress. The problem is that many organizations gradually begin treating meetings as the default response to almost every challenge. Questions become meetings, updates become meetings, decisions become meetings. As calendars become more crowded, many professionals find themselves in frustrating positions. Their schedules are full, their days are busy, and yet more important work continues competing for attention. They spend more time talking about work while finding less time actually doing it. What begins as an effort to improve communication can eventually create an environment where communication itself becomes an obstacle to execution. The intention behind the meeting may be good, but the outcome is not always helpful, or as helpful as people assume. One reason meetings are so difficult to evaluate objectively is because they create visible activity. People are engaged, ideas are being exchanged, and problems appear to be receiving attention. From the outside, it is easy to assume progress is taking place because effort is clearly visible. When a room is full of discussion and participation, the meeting feels productive almost automatically. The challenge is that activity and progress are not the same thing. A team can spend an hour discussing an issue and still leave without a decision, clear ownership, or defined next step. In those situations, the meeting may feel productive while creating very little movement afterwards. The discussion happened, but the work itself remains largely unchanged. Part of the reason this happens is conversations create reassurance. People feel informed, involved, and connected to the issue being discussed. Those outcomes can certainly be valuable. Strong communication matters. Healthy collaboration matters. Neither of those things, however, should be confused with progress. Progress occurs when discussions produce decisions, actions, and measurable movement. Meetings can also create a sense of shared effort. People see colleagues engaging with the same challenges, contributing ideas, and participating in the discussion. That visibility can create confidence progress is happening, even when the conversation has yet to produce a meaningful outcome. This is particularly common in collaborative environments. Collaboration is important, but collaboration is not the objective. The objective is moving work forward. When discussions continue without producing decision or action, the feeling of productivity can become disconnected from the actual result. Without those outcomes, meetings often create the appearance of momentum while leaving the underlying work largely unchanged. Most people evaluate meetings according to their duration. 1 hour meeting appears to cost 1 hour. On paper, that seems straightforward. The reality is the meeting is far from the time reserved on the calendar. They interrupt whatever work was already underway. They require preparation beforehand. They often generate follow-up work afterwards. Once the meeting concludes, people must reconnect with the tasks that they were handling before the attention was redirected. That process rarely appears on a schedule, but it consumes attention and energy. Many professionals underestimate how difficult it is to regain concentration after an interruption. Attention does not instantly return to where it was before the meeting started. People need to remember where they stopped, rebuild their train of thought, and reconnect with the work that was left unfinished. A single interruption may not seem particularly significant. The challenge appears when interruptions become frequent. A day that contains 4 or 5 meetings may also contain 4 or 5 moments where focus needs to be rebuilt from scratch. Those recovery periods consume time, though they rarely appear on anyone's calendar. This is one reason professionals often finish the day feeling busy while struggling to identify what they actually accomplished. The visible meeting time is only part of the cost. The hidden impact on attention and concentration is often equally significant. A calendar filled with meetings can therefore become misleading. Every hour appears allocated and every block of time appears productive. Yet the structure of the day making meaningful work harder to complete rather than easier. One of the most common reasons meetings become ineffective is they gradually replace decision-making rather than support it. Teams continue discussing issues long after enough information already exists to move forward, because continuing the conversation feels safer than committing onto a direction. This pattern often appears when people are trying to reduce uncertainty. Another discussion feels as though It might reveal new information, provide additional clarity, or make a decision easier. Occasionally, that happens. More often, though, the meeting simply extends a conversation that is already capable of producing an outcome. In some organizations, meetings become a way of sharing responsibility for difficult choices. Continuing the discussion feels more comfortable because accountability is spread across the group rather than attached to a single decision maker. While that may reduce discomfort temporarily, it rarely improves the situation. The decision still needs to be made. Delaying it often creates additional uncertainty rather than reducing it. Leadership frequently requires acting without perfect information. Additional conversations can improve the quality of a decision, but there comes a point when more discussion stops creating value and starts creating delay. Recognizing that point is an important leadership skill. And teams that understand this move forward quickly because they know when discussion is helping and when discussion is simply postponing action. The discussion remains unresolved, the more expensive the situation becomes. Additional meetings consume time, delay execution, and create impression progress is being made simply because people continue engaging with the issue. Meanwhile, the underlying decision remains unresolved. Effective meetings recognize that perfect certainty is rarely available. Their purpose is not to eliminate every possible risk before action occurs. Their purpose is to create enough clarity for informed decisions to help progress. When meetings stop supporting decisions and start postponing them, they become obstacles rather than tools. The most effective meetings begin with a clearly defined purpose. Everyone involved understands why meetings exist, what outcome is required, and what decision needs to be made. That clarity prevents discussions from expanding into unrelated topics and keeps the attention focused on the objective. Effective meetings also create ownership. People leave knowing what was decided, who is responsible for the next step, and what happens afterwards. Instead of generating more ambiguity, the meeting reduces it. Instead of creating more work, it creates direction. Strong leaders also recognize that meetings should be treated as an investment rather than a routine activity. Every invitation represents a request for attention, time, and mental energy. As a result, effective leaders become deliberate about when meetings are necessary and when another form of communication would receive the same outcome more efficiently. This creates a culture where meetings are used intentionally rather than automatically. People arrive better prepared. Discussions remain more focused. The value created by a meeting becomes much easier to justify. Another characteristic of effective meetings is respect for attention. They include the right participants, remain focused on the objective, conclude once the objective has been achieved. This may sound simple, but it's surprisingly uncommon. Most meetings continue because the time remains on the calendar rather than because value is being created. The best meetings understand that attention is a limited resource. They use it carefully, create clarity, and allow people to return to meaningful work as soon as possible. When these elements are present, meetings become valuable tools for accelerating progress. When they're absent, meetings become expensive conversations that consume attention without creating meaningful results. Meetings are not inherently unproductive. In many situations, they are essential for alignment, collaboration, and decision-making. The challenge is ensuring that the value created exceeds the resources invested. Organizations that manage time effectively do not judge meetings by attendance, duration, or frequency alone. They evaluate whether decisions were made, whether ownership became clearer, and whether meaningful progress was followed. Those outcomes become a far more accurate measure of value than any amount of time spent talking. A meeting should not exist simply because people are available to attend it. It should exist because it helps work move forward in a way that would have been more difficult without it. Comment below, what is the most common meeting mistake you see in organizations today? Don't forget to hit the like button, the bell for notifications, and subscribe to TIDAL Coach so you can join a community that's redefining what modern leadership looks like. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.